Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is a real world review of the Echo Shadow Click Reel. This is designed as a Euro nymph reel or just a kind of a click paw reel. First of all, I just want to say I am a huge fan of Echo. I think that they make some great products. I'm not selling these, so no offense to the fly shops that do the reviews or anything like that. I think they're great. I watch a ton of them, but I have no dog in this fight. I have no desire to sell you one of these guys. So just kind of take everything I say, with a grain of salt. But again, this is my real world review after having used this reel several times on the water. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of Echo. I've got a ton of their rods. And I really didn't understand the cult following that Echo had until I tried one of their rods. And I was like, oh, okay, yep, I get it. So I've got several of their Euro nymph rods. I've got the Echo Carbon XL. I've got the Echo Shadow 2. I've got the Echo Shadow X. And then I have a few of their 6-weight ions. And again, they do a very good job making products with a purpose, right? They're not just spitting something out for the sake of putting something on the market. It actually has a purpose. And I think that that's what they were trying to do here, which is pretty cool. So first I want to talk to you about some good things with this reel and then some areas where I think Echo could have improved on this reel a little bit. And maybe Echo's listening. I doubt it because, why would they want to listen to this channel? But some things I like about this reel. So like I said, this isn't a 4.5. You can also get it in a 3.4. So first of all, it comes in a nice little neoprene case. It's actually like a good case that you would want to carry your reel in. It's not like some of those like junk bags that you get that are really kind of worthless. But the fit and finish on this reel is done very, very well. I believe this is a cast reel, if I'm not mistaken, but it almost looks like it was machined the way that they did it. So again, everything looks really, really good. The tolerances are nice. Everything works really, really well. There's not a lot of wobble to it, in fact, at all. I've got some Ross reels that are a little bit older that have some wobble to it, so this one doesn't. So like I said, that's nice. It's easy to take the spool on and off. There's your click mechanism right there. That's really easy to replace or really easy to reverse. They give you an extra one, which is pretty cool. So kudos to Echo for doing that. The neatest thing about this reel, though, is that this is actually adjustable. So not only can you adjust where your line comes in, so you can make it a left-right retrieve, which is pretty sweet. They basically designed this to be a competitor to a full cage reel. So when I say a full cage or a full frame reel, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a reel that the frame here of the outside of the spool is actually connected to the main frame. So your spool actually sits inside the frame versus having part of the frame be part of the spool itself. The reason you do that is because most of the time, and if you're getting into Euro nymphing or you fish Euro, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that the line that we fish in Euro nymphing is generally much thinner. Sometimes it's just mono. Sometimes it's basically backing. This is a braided line that changes color every 3 feet, so I kind of know how many feet are out. And again, it's nice because it's nice and thin. It has low wind resistance, and that's usually what we're going for. We're usually not fishing weighted lines when we're fishing Euro nymphing, although you can do it. But the nice part is it basically gives you can see it basically makes it a full cage reel down in there, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to talk about this, again here in a second, as far as one of the areas that I think that they can improve. But again, this is a very innovative feature. Echo is kind of known for doing really innovative things, and I thought that this was really very, very brilliant. And again, that's why I was really excited about it. So again, really good reel all the way around there. And just the click mechanism itself, or the click paw mechanism itself, works really, really well. It's got a nice sound. And like I said, I did break one, but I actually did it when I was putting this on. And that's because there's, I don't know, a couple hundred yards of this on there. And it just snapped off. But again, they give you an extra one, which is pretty sweet. So some areas that I think that Echo could improve on this. First of all, so if you're using this as a normal click paw reel, it's awesome because it's light. It's under 3 ounces. I think this one is 2.9, 2.7, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but it's a light reel. It's definitely under 3. And so that's nice. The downside to that is that it's light. So obviously, again, if you're getting into Euro, sometimes we want a heavier reel to balance out those longer rods that we have, right? Those 10 foot, 10 and a half, 11 foot rods. and which is actually why Echo, they actually make little plates that you can put in at the back of some of their rods. But what I noticed is that even when I did that, because this reel is so light, it didn't really balance the rod correctly. And so what I ended up having to do was I ended up putting some of this this braid on. Then I actually ended up putting some lead core fishing line for like lakes in there, and then wrapped the braid over it. So you can't see it in there, but there is actually lead on there, and this is quite a bit heavier, and that seemed to balance it out pretty well, because again, that's what we're looking for. We want to be able to balance it with our reel. It helps with fatigue throughout the day, kind of helps with feel, it helps with fine adjustments, things like that. So that's something where, you know, again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? If you want a light reel, this is great, but if you want a heavier reel, you're going to have to add something to it, and maybe even more than what you're able to put on your rod itself. I think this would actually be a really good reel for like a 3, 4, 5 weight glass rod, something smaller, you know, like in the 8-foot range, 7.5-foot range. I haven't tried it on one of those yet, but I think that would be pretty cool for those smaller, you know, lakes or streams or whatever you're fishing. The other thing that I kind of struggled with a little bit on this one when I fished it several times is when you have your management loop, if you have one, because we don't always keep this line perfectly tight to our rod, right? If we're Euro nymphing, we might be bringing line in or out and kind of figuring that out, especially with the depths and we're lifting it. What I noticed, especially fishing this thinner line, you're going to see when I push this back, right? You can create a loop. So if you got slack in there, it can actually create a loop in there relatively easily. And what I noticed, and you're going to see it'll be real easy, I can take this line and slide it right underneath that. And if that happens, if you notice, I'm now wrapped around there, and you pull that tight, and I literally have now a pretty nasty thing. It's basically on the click pawl mechanism in there, and then I'm wrapped around. So then I've got to pop this off. Hopefully I'm not fighting a fish. Try to tighten this back out, right? Usually with one hand, like I'm trying to do here, and maybe pull on it. All right, so I got it back, and then I can get it back on there. So now if you don't have it fed through here, it's real bad. But I did notice that, again, it's real easy to create that loop and then have it slide through, especially if that loop gets kind of big back behind your reel and you don't really see it. So it doesn't happen a ton, but I mean, that was it. It was that simple. It doesn't happen a ton, but it did happen to me several times every day that I fished it. And I don't think that would be an issue, probably if you were fishing a slightly thicker Euro line, or a weight forward line. Obviously that wouldn't happen, but that is kind of one of the downfalls here. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's just something you have to be aware of. I mean, it's much cooler. There's not a lot of full frame reels out there that are actually produced in this price range. The only other one that I think is even close is the Fluger Medalist. They still make it. I have one of those as well. It is a full frame. It's nice. It works great. It's about $30 more though than this. So again, for the price, this is pretty cool. And again, I like that it's got that retention mechanism. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the same as a full frame reel if that's what you're looking for. So I guess overall, the question I would ask, kind of ask myself, which I asked myself in some other videos, is would I buy this reel again? I think the answer is yes, right? For a click pawl reel, I really like it. It just kind of depends on what I'd be using it for. So if I know I'm going to use a thicker line, or I know I'm going to use maybe a slightly thicker dedicated Euro line or something like that, yes. If I know I'm going to put this on a glass rod, would I buy this? Yes. Again, super well made. I love this is adjustable. And actually, if I wanted a light reel, would I buy this again? Yes. But yeah, otherwise, again, it's a good reel. Just kind of a couple things you have to be aware of with it. And Echo, maybe you guys can improve on that. Maybe we do a full frame or full cage reel. And if you guys have the ability to maybe put some weights in there like Redington just did with their new Euro nymph reel, that'd be pretty sweet. Or something up in here, or I don't know. I mean, you guys are the geniuses, so But yeah, so anyway, that's my review. Check out some other videos, and thanks for watching.